Welcome to the All-Star Math Video Tutor. This is Mrs. Dorlis, and the topic of this lesson is dividing fractions. Now, dividing fractions is just like multiplying. Once we change the signs from division to multiplication and take the reciprocal of the second fraction. Well, let's talk about what a reciprocal is. A reciprocal is when we invert a fraction or flip the numerator and the denominator. So, if I had something such as 2/5, and I wanted to take the reciprocal of 2/5, the reciprocal of 2/5 would be 5/2. What would happen if I had something like 1/2, and I took the reciprocal of 1/2? When I flipped it over, I would have 2/1. And we know that 2/1 simplifies down to just 2. Same thing goes for a whole number. If I had a whole number such as 3, and I was to invert this fraction and get the reciprocal, which means it would be normally over 1, this would give me 1/3. So that we can understand that taking the reciprocal or inverting the fraction, all it does is flip it over. Now let's take a look at the steps of how we go about dividing fractions. So our first step is we're going to change the division sign to a multiplication sign. That's the first thing we'll do. Next, we'll take the reciprocal of the second fraction only, not the first one, only the second one, the one that immediately is behind the sign. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to cross-cancel where we can. Cross-canceling means if there is something common in the numerator and something common in the denominator, we're going to cross it out because it's common so that we can do our simplifying earlier and not have to do so much work at the end. Our next step is we're going to multiply through, and then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to simplify if we need to do it. So let's do some examples where we follow these steps. So let's start here with 1/2 divided by 7/10. So just as I stated, we change the division sign to multiplication sign. We take the reciprocal of the second fraction, so we're going to invert that. And now we're going to cross-cancel where we can. Well, there's nothing exactly the same in the numerator and the denominator, but there is a 2 here and there's a 10 here. And they both have the number 2 in common. So we're going to say 2 can go into 2 one time, where 2 can go into 10 5 times. We have no other cross-canceling that we can do, so we're going to multiply through. So 1 times 5 is 5, and the denominator, 1 times 7, is 7. Now we've finished the problem. This is fully simplified. Let's try another one. 2/3 divided by 10. Again, we're just going to write down the first fraction the way we see it, change the division sign to a multiplication sign. We're going to take the reciprocal of the second fraction, and it doesn't look like a fraction right now, but we know that every whole number is over 1. So if we take the reciprocal now, this then becomes 1/10. Now we're going to cross-cancel where we can, and again we have the same numbers of 2 and 10. We know that 2 can go into 2 one time, and 2 can go into 10 5 times. So we've done our cross-cancelings. Now we're going to multiply through. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 5 is 15. And now we have simplified this problem down. Let's take a look at mixed numbers, and let's remember, how do we change a mixed number into an improper fraction? So we're going to take this number 1 4/5 and we're going to change it. The way we're going to do that is we're going to multiply the denominator times the whole number, and then we're going to add that to the numerator, and that'll become our new numerator. So 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. So 9 will become our new numerator, and we're going to keep our old denominator of 5. So this 1 4/5 is going to become 9/5. So we've changed that. Now we'll change our division to multiplication, and we'll take the reciprocal of 1/3, which will be 3/1. Now our next step is cross-canceling where we can, and there are no numbers in the denominator that have anything in common with the numerator. So there's no canceling that can be done in this problem. So now we're going to multiply through. 9 times 3 is 27. And the denominator, 5 times 1 is 5. Now this is an improper fraction. We need to change the improper fraction to a mixed number. So let's take 27 and divide it by 5. 5 goes into 27 5 times. We do some subtraction. That leaves us a remainder of 2, so it'll be 5 and 2/5. So 5 and 2/5. That will be fully simplified. Now one more example. Here we go with a mixed number divided by a mixed number. So again, we are going to go ahead and change this mixed number into an improper fraction where we're going to multiply the denominator times the whole number and add the numerator. So that's 7 times 3 is 21, plus 4 is 25. So this is 25/7. And just for a moment right now, so not to avoid any confusion, I'm going to leave the division sign until I change this mixed number. So again, this will be 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1 is 15. This will help so I don't have any errors about trying to simplify this into an improper fraction and then trying to remember, did I flip it over or not? So now let's follow our steps. Let's bring down the first fraction, change the division sign to multiplication, take the reciprocal of the second fraction. Now we're going to cross cancel where we can, and here we have 7. 7 goes into 7 one time. And now we have 15 and 25, and the number 5 can go into both of these. So 5 can go into 15 3 times, and 5 can go into 25 5 times. So now what we're going to do is multiply through. We have 5 times 1 is 5, and 1 times 3 is 3. We need to simplify it a little bit more because this is an improper fraction. So we're going to take a look at it again. 3 goes into 5 one time, and we're going to have 2 left over. So we end up with 1 and 2/3. This is the end of this All-Star Math video lesson.